everyone. How are you going?
Hello.
Welcome to Shitcast. Now, today we're doing a movie review on a film we saw a couple of weeks ago. We have already recorded this review the other night. Unfortunately, we've been sick with COVID, and when we were recording, we didn't realize that there was no sound coming through the system. So, take two. It's my fault, but that's okay. So, this movie review tonight we're doing, well today, because we're actually recording in daylight, is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
When I sleep, I see strange things.
Memories?
Not memories. New things. I see everything.
That is not everything. What a wonderful day!
2001, Tim Burton did a really bad remake of the original movie, and so they went on to reboot the series, I suppose you call it, with Dawn, what's it, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, with James Franco, and that was really good. It told the story of Caesar, the that he raised from a very young ape, and who was the first ape to actually be able to speak, and he taught him sign language and all that. And we followed Caesar through Rise, Dawn, and then War of the Planet of the Apes. Now, in War, unfortunately, if you've seen it, it's got one of the saddest endings I've ever seen in a movie. Caesar passes away after bringing his people to a very safe place for them. Now, this film starts off many, many generations after Caesar. So I would say it's probably about 300 years.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say specifically. It actually starts directly after Caesar's death at his funeral.
Flashes back.
And then it jumps from there to, it just says many generations later. But yeah, you get the feeling that an extensive period of time has passed because the apes have all divided off into their own clans or factions. They have different cultural beliefs, different spiritual beliefs, and there are different interpretations of the word of Caesar, and that sort of comes into play later in the movie.
So the IMDb reads, many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike.
Yeah. Now, the trailer there actually doesn't do the movie justice. This movie is incredibly beautiful.
There's not really a lot that was... There's no false beats in this movie.
Yeah.
There's Uncanny Valley and all that kind of stuff. They're talking about that, and there is no Uncanny Valley.
No, and I'm quite wary of CG. I always prefer practical effects to CG, but I have enjoyed this ape franchise since Rise and have enjoyed watching the technology of motion capture evolve from that movie onwards, and it's just getting better and better and better. And both the the apes and other animals in this movie are incredible, but also the forest that they're in, their background, their environment is also just absolutely breathtaking.
Well, they say photorealistic, and I know this. Oh, and I was shocked at the end credits when I was watching it and it said filmed in New South Wales, and I'm like very proud Aussie when I see films shot in Australia, and but I was like, how much of the sets were practical and how much were actually CG? Because the digital technology, I mean, the cameras and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was a stickler for film for years. I still prefer film. You know, it's if you're a film fan, you're probably going to do that. But I got to say, the level of technology, of clarity, and just sheer what they can do with, I don't know, drone camera work, crane camera work, mix of CG, practical.
Yeah.
This does it right. It actually
and
gets it correct.
They're very smart about the mixture of CG and practical as well. Like they've obviously got people in their motion capture suits sitting on top of horses, but the horses are real and they're trudging over real ground. You know, have a CG background that's composited in, but the ground that they're on is real, and you can tell, and it makes all the difference.
It really does. I mean, there's one, like the beginning of the movie starts out with young Noah, an ape that is of the eagle clan, and they're looking for eggs to perform a bonding ceremony with an eagle because they're an eagle clan. They go and search for an egg, and then the next morning it hatches and they've got their eagle, their avatar sort of thing. Now he goes with his two friends, and they unfortunately only find two eggs. So him and his friend and his would-be girlfriend, they get eggs, but she says, "Look, I'll wait for you until next season," which is a whole year away. It's basically like it's like a bar mitzvah or something like that. You know, it's a rite of passage. And he says, "No, I'm gonna get an egg." So he actually climbs to the even higher than any ape has been. So he climbs higher, he gets an egg, almost gets attacked by the eagle. Well, he does get attacked by the eagle and he falls down and all that. It's breathtaking, the cinematography. I was just like my heart and beating in my chest going, I hope I took my heart meds today. And he goes back. They have their, night of celebration the day before this thing. And unfortunately, he comes across this echo, which is what they call humans. And this echo is in their village, and she's been following him. And she actually causes him to break his egg. And he's like, well, I've got to go back in the middle of the night to go get an egg so I can have a bonding ceremony. So he does that. And on the way, she's following him. But on the way, he comes across a bad clan of apes, whose leader, Proximus Caesar, basically is trying to. He's like a mafia guy, or like a gangland leader. He's trying to merge all the clans together so he can rule over all of them.
Yeah,
and
trying to create his little dictatorship based on his interpretation of Caesar's
credo. And it's the apes stronger together, but he thinks apes together stronger.
Yeah.
So, and he goes like that as opposed to like that.
Yeah.
Which, if you've seen the films, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, fills you with like almost ape pride.
So he's basically interpreted it as, the more apes we can get together, and whether they be slaves or whatever.
To get into a sort of like a old human, sort of like a cave sort of system where he knows that something is behind it and he's trying to break in. It's at a beach, so it's like it's like a whole like enslavement camp and also their headquarters. And he is helped by a human who is William H. Macy, which I just went, oh my God, it's William H. Macy. Yeah. And he is reading to Proximus and teaching
him human history.
And unfortunately, he's teaching him Roman history, which is really bad because they obviously years gone by they've heard the name, Caesar. He equates that to Caesar of Rome, and he's teaching him the teachings of Roman Caesar.
Yeah.
We all know what happened to that Rome.
So in his teachings, he's both learning about the Roman history, but he's also learning about the evolution of humans. And he comes to realize that behind this big wall there's something hidden that he believes will help
The apes
the
be stronger.
apes be stronger and evolve more quickly.
And we're not going to tell you what it is because that's the best MacGuffin in the film, really. And and in the previous films, what happens is the humans lose the ability to talk because they're struck by the virus that is that has sort of mutated, and it's made the apes talk and have their society, but it's making humans basically forget, become, I won't say dumb, but it makes them mute and not remember. It's like it sort of takes away their frontal brain activity and just goes total
And it was Noah's understanding, or the entire Eagle clan's understanding, is that this happened to all echoes. But he learns as the movie goes on that, in fact, some echoes can still speak and they never lost the ability to speak. And perhaps the history that he was taught is not quite as accurate as he thought it was.
It's really amazing how they've put all these parables, I suppose you could say. I mean, it's religious parable, it's a societal parable. It really makes you think about what's happening right now in the new Rome.
Yeah.
As these films were set in San Francisco, I think the original films, there's California.
Yeah.
And you just think of what's happening over there at the moment, and it's like, I mean, this film came out at the same time as Civil War came out, and it's like they're really trying to, I think, art is trying to drive, or cinema's trying to drive home the fact that, watch out, guys, because, Rome fell, and this is what's happening right this minute if you let things go the way they're headed, and and it's
and if you don't learn from history the right way, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's pretty much where it would appear these apes are heading. They're making very much the same mistakes that the humans made along the way.
And the teachings of Caesar through time have been distorted and used for other people's power. Now that reminds me of the teachings of Jesus.
Exactly.
And all that kind of stuff. It's an onion. It's got many layers.
But because Noah comes across this other clan, they follow him back to his home and basically kidnap the entire Eagle clan. So
got to go back,
Noah is then tasked with trying to rescue them, and in doing so both learns a bit more about ape and human history, and sort of makes a few decisions along the way as to what he believes is right. Like, because Proximus basically tells the people in the Eagle clan that this is my law, this is how things are going to go, and Noah decides, no, bugger that. Your law is stupid.
You killed my father, prepare to die.
Something like that. So we can't give away really anything else without giving away
the story.
Yeah, the story.
Magnificent, guys. I mean, if you, it's still at the cinema. It actually is. It's the least of the movies that are out at the moment. It has dropped the least of any film that out. It's still number 3 after 5 weeks.
Yeah,
and that 6 weeks, I think. It's amazing.
I'm not surprised if you get a chance, go see it on the big screen.
The biggest screen you can.
It is.
We didn't see it on the biggest screen we could, but we saw it on the big screen.
Yeah, it is absolutely spectacular. It is worth spending the money to go to the cinema to see this one. And if you enjoyed this Apes franchise, you are not going to be disappointed by this movie at all.
I was really worried because the last 3 movies, and especially the last 2 by Matt Reeves, were perfect cinemas. Now, I stayed away from this franchise for years because I got friends that tell me, "Oh, you should watch these ape movies and all that," and I was under the assumptions that it's like the Tim Burton like that, and I loved Rise when it came out, and it really upset me. Like I hated humans watching that movie. I was like really upset, especially Tom Felton.
Yeah.
Oh, he pissed me off.
I had to convince him that the sequels were not only worth watching, but were actually kind of got better as they went along.
Magnificent. I mean, Jason Clarke is an actor that I saw Terminator Genesis, and it put me off him 100%. I liked him in Winchester. I actually think it's one of the few films, horror films, ghosty movies that have come out in the last 5 or 6 years it's actually a good film. And I really didn't understand the hate. But that Terminator film, I thought, man, this guy can't act. I will take that back, because I watched in this last 6 months, I watched those two previous Ape films, and he's phenomenal in that. And we watched Everest the other night.
Yeah,
and I'm just sitting
to watch Everest,
and I'm like saying, he's one of my favorite actors now.
Yeah, he is very good.
He could play the younger brother of Kurt Russell. He really could. He's got a lot of charisma. I mean, I don't know what he's up to and what he's doing now, but if he's in a movie now, I won't avoid it. I will definitely not avoid it. And seeing those last two Apes movies back to back, just really it almost killed me, because just the sadness and the pride you get for these apes that aren't real. This is the thing, guys. You don't get a sense of realism from CG that you do from these movies on any other movie. I mean, I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, New Empire, and I sat there going, "Oh, that was a video game," or like that. It was bloody awful, but it's made like twice the amount of money that this film has made, and it's don't ridiculous. Know why. Maybe because it's dads taking their kids,
maybe,
or parents taking their children, because it's like the safe way of going. But
I don't know. But this Planet of the Apes franchise is so good that your heart actually leaps into your throat several times throughout all of the movies. Just rooting for these characters and worrying about what's going to happen to them. So
the stakes are amazing.
Yeah. Go see this movie. And because it's set so far into the future, you can actually see this movie if you haven't seen the other Apes movies. It's kind of a works as a standalone. It does help to know the journey that Caesar had and what his credo actually was.
It's got more impact.
Yeah, it does have more impact if you know that. But you can still have a fantastic time even if you haven't seen the other movies. So while it's still in the cinema, because it won't be for much longer, go see it.
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 10?
Well, last time I just blanketed and said 10 out of 10, but I said 9.75 because of an actress called Diane Lackman, Australian actress. She comes in at the end of the film and I just can't stand her. She's just awful actress. Australian, sorry, but but I'm going to give it 9.75 again, because the two best films of the year were both made in Australia.
Yeah.
And this and Late Night with the Devil really show the world what we can do. And it's so upsetting that Furiosa is flopped, because it's like, it's like a nice hat trick for Australia, just to say, here you go, you don't need it. Oh, Fall Guy was also made in Australia. You don't need to make films over in America or Canada or England or something like that. We're worthy in Australia.
Exactly.
We are. And I was the guy that never would have said that 5 years ago.
Yeah. Took me ages to convince him that Australia makes good movies a lot of the time.
We do, and I was wrong, and I admit it. I mean, because, I grew up on everything American, and I thought, oh, you can't make a great movie outside of the continental United States or Canada. Boy, am I wrong. I mean, look at American Werewolf in London. It was made in London or England. Yeah.
Exactly. I'd give this movie probably 9.5 out of 10. It's pretty great.
It's almost perfect.
Yeah, I would give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm not sure if it would have as much impact on rewatch. We'll see how we go with that, but it's
Yeah.
pretty damn good.
I just the only downside is the fact that the film ends because I want more.
Yeah.
I
And
want
they
to
do leave it open for many, many more sequels to come.
God, I hope they do.
hope they do continue with the franchise.
make them in Australia. You know, I've heard Perth's really nice. You know, you could make it over here.
Yeah.
We've got lots of land over here.
Come see us.
Yeah, yeah, please. But
Well,
yeah,
on that note, she'll
yeah. In the future, hopefully there's water, so you'll be able to stay hydrated.
and remember, even in the future, leggings are not pants. Apes don't need them. They don't wear them. They know.
We watched a whole movie with just nude characters the entire movie. When the humans show up, it felt weird that they were wearing clothes.
Yeah, it kind of did. Anyway,
Yeah.
good night.
Night.